Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is She's Gotta Have It, Season 1, Episode 1, and the name of this episode is The Jumpoff, Doctrine. And this is a new series on Netflix, and let me go to say I thoroughly enjoyed this. For those of you who don't know about She's Gotta Have It, this is Spike Lee's first film, and it's now been turned into a series. This was his breakout, movie. He actually paid $60,000 to make it, and it grossed $7 million. So it put Spike Lee on the map. And Spike Lee is also involved as creative director as well as, producer and director of this series. So Spike Lee has now brought back his original baby, but he has now put it into a series. And I can honestly say I'm already a fan of this. And I'm going to be reviewing the episodes every Tuesday. And, I definitely, pretty much they already have the whole season, but I'm going to try to review it like every Tuesday, because I really did enjoy this series. But before I get started, let me offer my love and condolences to everyone that was affected by the tragedy in Texas as well as Las Vegas, as well as the people that were affected by the hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Jose, and Maria. If you can get any kind of relief or support, please do so because our fellow man needs our help. Now, let's get started with this review. Now, for those of you who don't know about the original movie, the movie is based on the main character, Nola Darling. She's a woman who pretty much I would say she's, an individual, and she's a free spirit, and she doesn't like being labeled, and she's a woman who just is very expressive, who likes to live her life, and she actually is involved with 3 different men. And pretty much you really see that the 3 different men that she chooses, they're all completely different, but they all bring something unique to her life. So you really see that there's more to one side of Nola. You see there's more to one side of Nola. And this episode, definitely we get introduced to the 3 men, and we actually see, how they're different. The first guy that we end up meeting is Jamie Overstreet. Jamie is looking for a soulmate. He's looking for, that one person, he believes in that, traditional idea that there's always somebody special for everyone, and that person is not necessarily the person you want, but it's the person you need. And he said that Nola is the one that he needs. And Also, what I can say about this series has an awesome soundtrack. They play a lot of oldies but goodies. They were playing the Isley Brothers, Jill Scott, Force MDs. I mean, throughout this series, you're going to hear a lot of great music. So we pretty much see, he has that kind of connection with Nola. Like, he's very passionate, he's very caring, and he really sees her as like the apple of his eye. That's the one that he wants. And then we get introduced to another guy that she's talking to, Mars Blackman. Now, Mars, you would think the kind of person Mars is, she wouldn't be interested in him because he's completely pretty much Mars is goofy, he's freaky, he's just crazy, but she likes that about him, that he makes her laugh, and that they have good chemistry. They are both into they're both into art and movies and things like that. So she kind of sees like him as like a homeboy, but they also have sex as well. But Mars really likes her as well, but he's a different kind of guy than Jamie. He pretty much lives with his family, because they even showed a scene with him and his sister, and they were going back and forth. It was really funny. But then, also him and Nola have great sex as well. So we see that they have that chemistry, and they both like to smoke weed, and that he's pretty much like that laid back guy that she likes because he makes her laugh and she really, gets a kick out of him. Then we meet the third guy that she's into. This guy is Greer Childs. Greer is a totally different guy from Janie and Mars. Greer is very egotistical. He's rich. And he's very narcissistic. He's full of himself. But he's fine as hell. And we definitely see that, in this, they show a scene with him and Nola. Nola's in bed butt naked, wanting him to strip. He's taking off his clothes, and since he's so formal and very, astute, he folds every little piece of clothing in a certain way, and she's just there like, dude, just take off your damn clothes and get over here. Why are you doing all this extra shit? So, but we actually see, they have a great connection because, they have great sex, and he's pretty much she kind of says that he's kind of like a wild beast in bed. So they actually have very good sexual chemistry, but Greer can be very condescending at times and can be completely full of himself. While she's painting a picture of him, he's like taking selfies of himself because like, I'm like the finest thing that has ever walked the face of the earth. Because that's how he thinks of himself. And then like when he actually sees the painting, she paints him with devil horns and this long tongue, and he gets mad. Like, really? This is how you see me? She's like, yeah, I kind of see you as the wild beast. That's like your inner you, that you like an inner devil that lives inside of you. He's like, man, I sat here all this time, for all this bullshit, and like, it's just really funny because he's that full of himself, but she definitely likes the fact that they do have good chemistry, and because he even said about the art, he's like, really, Nola? WDF. What the fuck? I thought that was pretty cool. Then we meet Nola's best friend. Her name is Clorinda Bradford. We also come to find out that she actually used to date Mars, but he kind of, cut her off and started going after Nola, which she's still kind of bitter about. And also, her and Nola were former roommates, but they just couldn't get along because she said that night she would come home and she would just see all of these different randoms in the house that Nola would, mess around with. So Nola pretty much told her the line, like, look, I am who I am, and if you have a problem with it, you can go find somewhere else to live. Nola was on the lease, and we actually come to find out that Clorinda lives literally right down the street from her. But they're still very good friends. And, they're even better friends now that they don't live together. And we pretty much see that, as far as Clorinda, she's very opinionated. She takes no shit because they have a scene where, her and Nola, along with two other friends, are out, with lunch, and they get these cucumber martinis. She drinks hers, and she's like, excuse me. And the waiter is like this guy with this long beard or whatever. She was like, excuse me, but this stuff tastes like moonshine and cucumber shit, and I'm not feeling it. And I don't taste any Grey Goose in that. And he was like, look, I know you look nice in your little beard and everything, but don't let your niceness, don't let your your good looks think that you're gonna smooth this over because I'm not feeling this. So he says, well, I'll get you another one. So he gives her another drink, and she tries it. She's like, okay, it's good. And then he kind of pulls his beard and walks off because he was like, the way he was kind of turned on by it. But yeah, and we also see within this episode that all of the men have somewhat of an opinion about her. Like for example, Mars thinks that she's a freak, and she hates that word because she doesn't consider herself a freak. And then Greer thinks that she's a sex addict. And she's like, well, if I'm such a sex addict, why won't you leave me the hell alone? And besides, if I'm a sex addict, what does that make you? He says, it makes me a grown-ass man. She's like, yeah, and I'm a grown-ass woman. So, what? And, you know, but definitely her and Greer have great sexual chemistry, because outside of that, you know, Greer's an asshole. And we also see that, you know, Janie pretty much brings her gifts, and he pretty much, you know, brings her, you know, gifts for her birthday or whatever, and, you know, they pretty much make love, and, you know, he's feeding her a birthday cake, and then all of a sudden her phone's going off, and Mars is calling, and Mars is like, come on, baby, it's your birthday, let me come over and let me smell it. I'm like, Mars is so hilarious. She's packing up, she's like, look, I'll talk to you tomorrow. So the next day she does hang out with Mars, and Janie's trying to call her. He's called her twice, but it went straight to voicemail because she's getting it in with Mars. And Mars is tearing her up. He literally has picked her up and is like literally laying down the pipe. So, you know, after a while we see that, you know, Greer, so we pretty much we see that later on Janie does meet up with her, and Janie's pissed off because, you know, he feels like, you know, why am I not enough? And, and she pretty much was like, look, I already let you know where I am with this. Why won't you just go with the flow? And he's like, well, what about my flow? And she's like, yeah, and what about the 2 other flows that you messing with? So we see Janie got other women too, but he wants Nola to be just all about him. So he kind of gets in his feelings and leaves, and she's like, you know what? Get out of here with all that fuckboy bullshit. Ain't nobody got time for that. So we see that go on. Then we actually see that she actually hangs out with Clorinda, and, you know, her and Clorinda, you know, are smoking, you know, they pretty much smoking weed, and they talking, and they rapping, and, you know, they talking about the guys or whatever. Like, she said that, you know, I don't want to talk about Mars, because she used to date Mars, but she's like, and like, Nola's like, well, the thing about Mars is that I like him because he makes me laugh. And she says, yes, I like the same thing, but obviously he likes to make other people laugh too. But she's kind of like, okay, whatever. But then she starts talking about, you know, Greer. He's like, I know Greer got that good dick, and I know he be putting it on you and everything. And like, you know, and she's like, so. And then we also come to find out that he does help Nola out financially. So she's like, oh, so how is your sugar daddy? And she's like, he's not my sugar daddy, you know, but he does help me out here and there. And we also know that Nola Darling is actually a painter. She's an artist. And she also is a big film enthusiast, so she loves movies. And, you know, she actually, you know, is a very expressive personality. And I kind of vibe Nola because, you know, I definitely vibe with that. But, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about that too. But give me a moment. I was actually going to talk about something I missed in the beginning of this series, but I'm definitely going to bring it up. So we see after a while, so pretty much we see that, you know, after a while, she leaves, you know, Clorinda, and she's on her way home, and she just lives right down the street. All of a sudden, some dude starts yelling at her, yo, ma, yo, babe, what's good? You know, all of that. And we see that she, in the beginning of the episode, but I'm gonna talk about this guy because he gets very aggressive with her. But in the beginning of the episode, she talks about, I love walking the streets of New York City, but sometimes walking the streets of New York City can be brutal. So you get all of these men and women who are always throwing out, yo, babe, yo, ma, yo. And then one girl is like, I want to eat your ass, and I want to eat that pussy raw. Like, they were just saying all kind of crazy obscenities to her, trying to get her attention. And then the last dude was the dude from The Wire, and he's like, oh, ma, like, you so fine that they want to make Jesus get off the cross. Ooh, shit. Because he used to do that on The Wire, too. Shit. I mean, because me and my brother used to watch The Wire, and every time he did that, me and him would bust out laughing. So as soon as I saw him, I fell out. I was like, and she just standing there like, really, Negro? Well, going back to what I was going with before, like, after she leaves Clorinda's house, she walks off, and this dude is like, yo, babe. She's like, I ain't your baby. He's like, yo, ma. She's like, look, my mother didn't name me yo, and she definitely didn't name me ma. And he's like, look, bitch. And he kind of, like, grabs up on her, and she's like, get your hands up off me. He's like, yo, I'm just trying to rap with you. What's up? So she pretty much fights him off and gets off of him. She's like, well, fuck you then. I don't want your stank-ass pussy no way, you fucking black bitch. And I was like, ooh. You say you don't want the pussy, but obviously you in your feelings, so you did. You lying black bastard. And we see that she was kind of shaken up by it, and we see she goes home and she smokes a blunt, and you see that she's crying. Because, you know, this is some of the craziness that you deal with, you know, being a woman, and being in a society where, you know, men, you know, some men, not all men, but some men lead with their pants, and they're all about getting what they want. And if, you know, you got some men who like to take things. So he was about to try to rape her, and she fought him off. And she knows that a lot of women just like her go through things like that. Even the ones who are not individuals or free-spirited as Nola. So, pretty much after that, we see that, you know, she's painting, you know, this photo of herself, you know, and it's beautiful. You know, she's a beautiful artist. We even seen her working with kids and all of that, so she's very artistic. So she talks about this Japanese director, you know, like I think his name is Kurosawa, something like that. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But he did this movie where there was like this the main character was like raped and murdered, and that everybody, you know, even though everyone, you know, more than one person saw the crime, everyone has a different view as to what happened. And pretty much she says that even though all of these men view me differently, you know, I am going to go by things on my own terms. And I'm pretty much, she'll let them know, like, look, either go with, she's like, you know, either accept things with my own terms or go with God, you know, because I'm not going to settle for anything less. She pretty much says straight up, you know, as far as how the three of them view her, you know, as far as Mars, I'm not a freak, and as far as Greer, I'm not a sex addict, and when it comes down to Jamie, I'm no one's property. And then we see that she goes out, you know, and she kind of puts up like graffiti, you know, artistic graffiti, pretty much, you know, in reminiscent of Basquiat, who, you know, as Samo used to, you know, do graffiti art throughout the city. She's kind of doing the same thing, and she's pretty much saying that, you know, what, you know, pretty much as a woman, what I'm not. She's like, my name is not Dime Piece, my name is not Boo, my name is not Baby Girl, my name is not Mamacita, my name is not Yo Ma, and especially, my name is not motherfucking black bitch. And she pretty much says that, my name is Nola Darling. Black Lives Matter. Yes, indeed it does, because black is beautiful, baby. So that's what I have, y'all. But if I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I definitely look forward to reviewing this series. And shout out to Spike Lee, because I'm glad that he has, you know, revamped. You know, she's got to have it for a new audience. You know, because this movie came out, the actual movie came out in 1986. And, you know, it was definitely a movie that drew me in because, you know, we really see this woman, you know, who's just trying to be an individual, and we see that there's more than one side of her, but each guy wants her to just pick one, you know, they want to be the only guy. But, well, mainly that was Jamie. But, you know, but at the end of the day, she chooses to be who she is, and she doesn't want to put limits or constraints to who she is. So I actually like this, and I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing this. So subscribe to my channel. Click that bell to get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on my other social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and I also have a GoFundMe. You can also check out that link in the description box also. As well, like this video, comment this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of She's Gotta Have It. So until then, everybody, take care.